There are shows in this world that we will never fully understand, except Ghost Adventures. We have watched every episode to build our obsession, our fandom.
Watching alongside each other because no one we know really gives a damn. Watching Zach and crew catch groundbreaking proof of the paranormal, inspiring us to explore our own interest in otherworldly phenomena. This is our podcast. We are Paranormal Putas.
Everybody, and welcome on back. Forgive us, when we listen to the intro, we mouth along like every single time. It's so good.
I mean, we could just drop it in.
No.
But we listen to it every time. Like, we could edit it in.
We could.
But we listen to it every time.
It gets us hyped. Oh, God. All right, I'm in. Hey, everybody, it's me, Leah.
And it's Bethany.
And we're the Paranormal Putas, and we are here today to discuss
Houghton.
I don't really know how to say it. Houghton Mansion.
It's a haunted mansion. Houghton Mansion.
Oh, man.
So in this episode, Zach and crew go to Houghton Mansion in North Adams, Massachusetts.
Yeah, so I can kind of give us a little history on Houghton Mansion, and we'll jump into kind of what the guys discovered along the way. But this belonged to Albert Charles Houghton, and he was the first mayor of New Adams, and he apparently had this mansion built right around 1887. Now, the story goes that the family believed that they were cursed because of some rocks that they had on there. Well, it's some rocks.
Keep telling me about these rocks.
Yeah, and so these rocks, they were called the Bloody Pit. The Bloody Pit. It got so bloody because it was covered in the blood of 200 people. Apparently these rocks crushed these lives, and they were pulled from the tunnel, and Mr. Houghton then used them in a fence, for a fence in his yard. So
I forget, did he know that those rocks were from the Bloody Pit?
Yeah, because the tunnel was like 2 miles up the road. So
he took them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make me a fence with the Bloody Pit rocks.
No, Mr. Houghton did not understand what like imprinting means, and definitely didn't pick up on any potential energies that would have been coming from that bloody pit, because they're chilling in his front yard now. But because of that, the family believed, or the story goes, the family was cursed. So Mr. Houghton and his wife and daughter lived in this mansion. At one point, their caretaker, Mr. Witters, if I'm not mistaken, took a couple people out on a little cruise and unfortunately had a horrible car accident. Now, everybody lived except for Mrs. Houghton and their daughter. So apparently 10 days after that car accident, Mr. Charles, Albert Charles, passed. Broken heart, some say. Or he was just old. I don't really know how it goes there.
So wait a minute. I feel like I'm like really high. Albert Charles is who?
His wife and daughter.
Yeah, his wife and daughter died
in the car accident.
Because Mr. Witters was driving.
Mr. Witters was the driver.
So is this after Houghton had died, or like
No, they died and then Houghton died 10 days after this.
Yeah. I swear I watched the episode.
So these three people died, all right? And Mr. Witters, the caretaker, who was also the driver that killed the wife and the mother, he goes and he commits suicide. So he apparently tells somebody there on site, hey, I'll be right back. Gonna check a couple things out at the barn. Never comes back. And Mr. Witters was found with one bullet hole in his head. So the story goes that the house is haunted, of course, by the family, but also Mr. Witters, who killed himself because of the guilt he felt that led to that family's tragic tragic end.
I love that name, Mr. Witters. It sounds like something from like Clue, like it was Mr. Witters in the buggy, who drove them to their doom.
Making that sharp right turn.
Yeah, like
Witters,
it was Mr. Witters.
It was. No, that is a really good name. It's very 1884,
Yeah, someone in the Westing game was named Mr. Witters.
So with this episode, with the story, with the tales around the location, we come across some pretty cool things. The guys walk across the law before the investigation, right? They talk about these bloody rocks. They actually go down to the tunnel, where the bloody pit was. The pieces were pulled from, and they always have fun doing that kind of stuff.
I like how in the tunnel they're going through there, and Zach's just like, "Come on, Nick!" like trying to sound like extra cool, extra tough, extra like in command.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's episode 2. He's coming hard, so he's like, "We're in this."
Yeah,
and he drags Nick into the tunnel, and I don't think that they really got anything while in the tunnel.
They said that they heard something, but they didn't like have the evidence for it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, nothing happened there.
One thing that I love about this episode is that they bring a padlock to the investigation, and Zach's like, "We're padlocked in. It's a lockdown." Like he's so intense about it being a lockdown from dusk till dawn. They're not going to let us out until the morning. And it felt like really intense. And of course, we all know that they do lockdowns from sundown to sunup. But I think this may have been like a new concept for the time.
Yeah.
So he was like really stressing, "We're not going to leave. We can't leave. We're stuck here," to try to drive them views up.
Yeah, it's one of those things that made him different. And I think he does that a couple episodes. Like, I think that's kind of the thing. But I don't believe that that's no longer the thing. Like, they don't put padlocks on these buildings anymore,
No.
I don't think. But
I mean, they still stress that like they're there locked in.
Right.
But it wasn't such a show.
Right,
Or
right.
it isn't such a show anymore.
here's an actual visual of us being like,
he had
we
like
get
a
it.
pad. He brought his own padlock and it, like drilled into the building. Like,
Like, doesn't that kind of fuck it up? Like these historical buildings, like drill this padlock into it. Like, all right, cool. It's crazy because it's like I said, a historic building, and I think after the Houghtons lived there, it became a place for the Masons,
yeah, like Freemasons were there.
Yeah.
They interviewed a couple of them.
and the interviews were lame.
Yeah.
Like. And nothing of value came from that interview. It was a waste of time. I think I got up and got a snack. I was over it.
Yeah, those guys were so up their own butts about like being Freemasons and stuff.
I didn't care.
I don't even know what they do. Obviously, I don't think you're supposed to. It's a secret society. But I'm just like, y'all look kind of lame. And they had, didn't they have like a bed of nails or something?
Oh, yeah, like
and like an
torture.
electric
Yeah,
chair, like
like-
an old electric chair. Yeah, they made kind of a stink about that.
Yeah.
It's kind of whatever to me.
Same.
But they're not there anymore. I don't think, there's no one in this building anymore. So, it's kind of vacant right now.
Yeah, nothing in it. It's just haunted, hanging out.
Yeah, the Houghtons just chilling.
I really want to get to the meat, right? The meat and taters. So maybe it's time for a little honorable haunts.
And skimpy scales.
That's right, everybody. It's time for honorable haunts and skimpy scales. And Bethany, you want to kick us off with a couple of yours?
Well, what do you want to hear? Skimpy or the highlights?
Let's start with the skimpies and end with a bang.
All right. So for some of the skimpies, I thought that that part where they were in the tunnel, we kind of already talked about it a little bit. How they were going through the bloody pit tunnel, and they said that they heard something, but they didn't catch anything on camera. So I thought that was kind of skimpy.
And we already mentioned them because they were the Masons. Again, didn't really care. Their background, the information about them, the stories we heard, they didn't impact the overall investigation. There weren't a whole bunch of Freemasons running around the place and haunting it up. So skimpy scare for me.
Yeah. Another one was where Nick and Aaron kind of hear a noise going into the basement, but they didn't catch it on camera that time either.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, anytime for me when they say that they hear something and they don't catch it, it kind of bums me out. It's like, cool, you're documenting that you hear it, but it's skimpy for the viewer because I didn't get to hear it, and I want to hear it.
I agree. I think that was the one I had as well, where we mentioned the noise, but we don't get it on our end in any way. It's okay if I hear it but don't see it, or see it but don't hear it. But there's got to be something that I get from it. So for them to hear or see and us get nothing, it's definitely a skimp. So yeah. I think those were the only skimpies I had.
I think we had a lot of good, honorable haunts this one. This one had some really good stuff.
Some top-notch haunts at Houghton Mansion. I think for me, one of the top ones, we talked about noise and when they hear it and we don't see it, or vice versa. This one, they asked for a noise and they heard the door open, close.
Yeah, that was towards the end of the episode. Zach says, make a teeny noise. And we're gone. He was like, make a teeny noise. Just a teeny little noise. So it's in a response to Zach's demand. So it means it's an intelligent response.
Right. That makes it super juicy. So yeah, you ask a spirit to do something and it does it. That's a pretty legitimate documentation of the paranormal.
I think so.
So that was an honorable haunt for me.
There was also, of course, this kicked off the investigation. Within minutes of the footage that they showed us, they have the motion sensors go off, and they have that hooded figure, that black shadow, go across the doorway.
Yeah, that was huge. The motion sensors go off. The guys freak out. The sensors! We run over there, and of course we review footage. And it shows, a little shadow person. It's really quick, but it is solid. I think we first hear ectoplasm.
Oh, yeah. In this one, they use the term ectoplasm.
And that's cool.
That term was in Ghostbusters.
I know what that means.
It was cool. Yeah, I like that you mentioned the technology. They did kind of pull out some new pieces in this one. They had that light thing. I don't remember what he called it, but he says it was supposed to attract the ghost. And they also used infrared and explained infrared in this one.
Ooh, yeah, you must be talking about the dark camera.
Yeah.
He described it as kind of like a bug catcher, but for ghosts. So you turn on the light and it attracts them. And what was cool about that, he turns it on and then he uses the infrared and they actually pick up in the picture this weird looking figure by a dresser.
I think it was in Mary's room.
Yeah, in Mary's room. So that was really cool to see because, again, you have something reacting to a trigger to technology, so you have that backup and that proof. Ooh, we had some grade A EVPs up in this one.
Electronic voice phenomena.
Oh yeah, we had the child laugh, and what was really cool about this is you hear that creepy child laugh. It sounds like a voice, I guess. Maybe something like this. So we hear something like that, right?
and that's at 4:17 in the morning too.
So that's the last thing anybody wants to hear ever at any time of clock. So that freaks everybody out. But what's really cool about that, again, is the response they get in the electromagnetic field reader. They get some crazy spikage to go with that EVP, again, indicating that something there was setting off those electromagnetic fields.
Yeah, I like when they get two pieces of evidence from one experience, multiple machines are reacting. That's always good.
Solid, grade A, paranormal investigating right there, everybody. It's really good stuff.
They also had that one where it said ran for help or whatever. What the?
Yeah, so he said ran for help. And that one makes me laugh because Zach then says, is that you, John Witter, saying ran for help? Is that what you did when the car accident happened and you killed the mother and daughter? Did you run for help? And you're sitting there as the viewer oh shit, maybe. But then...
Bro, that's a stretch.
But that's a fucking stretch.
Bro.
But Zach does that. He stretches some of the things they get to try to connect dots for the viewer. It makes it more credible.
I guess. I don't know. I feel because there are so many options or scenarios where someone would be ran for help. It's so fucking vague. Like, I mean, it could be Mr. Witters.
It could be, right? But because of its vagueness, it makes it so easy to kind of warp it into what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And he wants it to be Mr. Witters running for help.
Yeah.
And so
It does create a story for the viewer. And for those who don't feel like thinking for themselves, they can be like, oh, wow, he got Mr. Witters. So
that's Zach. He's really on it.
yeah, I think those were all of my like honorable mentions. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. Really solid stuff. But of course, as always, we want to discuss the true terrors of the show.
When Zach hits the door with his face.
Zach did hit the door with his face. That was really great.
That was awesome. Because he was like, you're supposed to be my eyes. Watch out for me. Wait, no, what did you say? Guide me. Because it's like pitch black and he's walking into these doors and nobody tells him anything and he just thunk. He just hits right in his face.
That fucking hurt.
Yeah,
Y'all are
That hurt
supposed
like
to guide
hell.
me. And then he gets mad at the two camera guys behind him, Nick and Aaron, for not telling him about the door. And yeah, that was pretty great. And they're like, we didn't see it either.
Yeah, it's fucking pitch black. We got nothing but night vision, tiny little cameras.
Let's see here. Is it about that time where we talk about the real terrors of the episode?
Would that be?
Zach's fashion fall. You are 100% on it, Bethany. It is time for Zach's fashion faux. I have a couple takeaways from this episode. What about you?
Yeah, I've got some. You can start.
Well, what I want to point out, I think, is the big moment. Zach makes a big shift in his wardrobe choices, and he presents to us our first Affliction t-shirt. Ooh. Oh, man. And it's a beaut, right?
It is.
It's got a nice embossed like red rose on the shoulder, on his broad shoulder. And then I'm pretty sure it just like says a cross, like there's a cross on the back.
There's a
that
cross
says, like,
on the back.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah. And it's got roses on it too. It's really pretty.
It's a very pretty Affliction shirt, but it's the first that we see, episode 2. And they don't go away for a while. Yeah. So I'm real excited to discuss the range of Affliction shirts that we're about to see.
It's on.
That was a good one for me. What about you? What do you got?
Let's see. I noticed that Aaron's wearing that like cameraman vest business going on. And I don't know why it took me so long to realize that that's just like his outfit. That's what he wears every investigation. And he's been wearing it for so long. He's been wearing it since episode 2. He still wears it. Because I remember a couple of years ago being like, he always has that vest on. And it took me like 15 seasons to catch on.
Oh, wow.
But I noticed it in this episode. And I was like, whoa, he's wearing it this early. And it's like that cameraman vest.
Yeah,
it's got like little X's and stuff on it. Like it looks like it has like utility purpose. Like he can hold shit in it or something. Either way, I noticed it. Not a faux pas exactly, but still a fashion mention.
Oh, definitely. I didn't pick up on that. And as you're telling me this, you're absolutely right. Aaron wears a vest, and I never really noticed. Huh. Look at that. Good catch. Good catch there, puta. But Zach's still rocking the forward spike, so not much has changed with Zach's hair by episode 2. I know we were all hoping and praying, but this is going to be a slow transition.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
But thankfully, there's a moment where he hides the hair.
Oh, geez. Oh, geez.
Tell him about it.
I think you should.
Jack featured a bowler hat in this episode.
Dawned on his cap.
Oh, gosh.
Little bowler hat. Walked out the door and thought he looked good.
And he didn't. And he really didn't. And hearts broke everywhere. It's a horrible hat. And the thing is, you'd like to think that it was a mistake that he was making in 2008. But no, folks. He keeps rocking the bowler hat. I'm pretty sure that the bowler hat is in current promotional pictures for his haunted museum. So
I think so. I know for sure a top hat, but probably a bowler hat too.
I really feel confident in that statement. We still love Zach.
Yeah, that bowler hat was pretty atrocious. Like, I don't know what's worse, the spiky hair or the bowler hat.
I'm surprised he could put on the hat with the hair.
He must have not gelled that day.
You'd think that there was cement in that hair with how hardcore it is, but I think those were the only ones I really had for this fashion faux pas.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, I mean, again, their fashions are fairly simple. It's just sometimes they have those little slips.
Oh yeah,
Like that hat.
we'll never forget. So with the history, the haunts that were honorable and skimpy, the fashions that were horrendous, I think I'm ready to rate this episode.
Do it. What do you give it?
I'm gonna give Houghton Mansion 3 claws.
3 claws.
3 claws, because we got some really solid evidence, but the episode bored me.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to be honest. I had to watch this episode like 3 or 4 times because I kept forgetting what happened.
Yeah.
I just kept forgetting. And the evidence was good. And I mean, there's no bad episode of Ghost Adventures, even when they don't catch anything. So it was still fun to watch. It just kept slipping my mind. And I don't know why. So I have to rate this baby 2 claws.
Ooh, 2 claws. And you sounded shocked, appalled at my 3.
What? Well, I was thinking 1.
Ooh, so I'm being too nice.
And well, I don't know, but I was just thinking maybe 1. But you're right, the evidence was good. And we have the Bloody Pit. And I just love saying Bloody Pit.
That's true.
Sounds like a good band name. We are Bloody Pit.
Hell yeah. I'd wear your tees.
So we'll give it 2 claws.
All right, 2 claws. As always, I respect that. I think that's it for this episode. This was Houghton Mansion, season 1, episode 2. We'll catch y'all next time for East Side Haunts.
Part 2. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan. I'll be there. As usual, we like to send you off with a little love and light. Let's do a little ritual for you.
Hail to the guardians of the watchtowers of the east, the powers of air and invention. Hear me!
And you are cleansed, ready to face the world.
I feel great. Thanks for that. Appreciate you.
It always feels great.
Oh, yeah, man. So with that, I'm Leah
And I'm Bethany, and we're signing off with 2 besitos
from these putitos.